Thank you, Madam Speaker. What's disgusting has been the obstruction from the opposition. Back in June, we brought Bill C-2, which contains provisions which would not have allowed those asylum claims to be made in Surrey that the member references. Madam Speaker, in Bill C-2, which is now, that portion is in C-12 and in the House, in the Senate, would not allow any person who has entered Canada over 12 months ago to make an asylum claim. They're ineligible to even file the claim. All of those individuals, those 12 individuals, had been in Canada for over a year. They would have been ineligible had they not obstructed, had they passed that bill back in June, and that is disgusting, Madam Speaker.
For Calgary Nose Hill.
The bill that's in front of the House of Commons. Two things. Number one, it was Conservatives that went to Liberals to separate out the parts that she talked about are Bill C-12, not Bill C-2. Wrong, number one. Wrong, number two. Bill C-12 does not stop somebody from coming into Canada right now, committing a violent crime, and then making an asylum claim. The other thing is that they have 300,000 people in the refugee claim system right now, which means that it takes, what, years for those claims to be processed. And in those years, those violent criminals can avoid deportation, claim social benefits, and all sorts of other things that make a mockery of Canada's immigration system, our justice system, and hardened attitudes toward immigration. That is disgusting. I can't believe she doesn't even...
Questions et commentaires.
Questions and comments. The Honourable Member for La Pointe-de-L'Île. Yeah, so I'd like to know from my colleague, you know, in the Immigration and Refugee Protection Act, there are already offenses. So asylum seekers who committed offenses either in Canada or outside of Canada are essentially ineligible to stay in Canada. So is this not redundant?
For Calgary Nose Hill.
I welcome the question because it's a good one, and they're not. It's not redundant. In practice, and as well as in the law, we need to have an amendment to clarify, to ensure that violent crime, people who are committed of violent crimes cannot claim asylum and do not give lenient sentences. There are many instances now where the Immigration Refugee Protection Act needs modernization. The definition of serious crime needs to be updated so that judges can't use loopholes to give people leniency and avoid deportation. And also the criminal code needs to be updated as well, which is why I have a private member's bill in front of the House. The Liberals and the House could pass those things today, expedite them, end these processes. I'm very happy to work with my colleague through these bills, but he's wrong. And he's hearing what lawyers and powerful lobby groups who profit off of these systems are saying, and he's not hearing the practical reality of victims.
Questions and comments. The Honourable Member for Saskatoon West.
She just commented how the minister doesn't even understand or know some of the contents of bills, and it makes me think of C5 and C75, two bills that made house arrest possible and took away mandatory minimums. So I'm wondering if the member has some comments on those two bills and how they are affecting the situation.
Honourable Member for Calgary Nose Hill.
I thank you to my colleague for raising these bills. I mean, here's the reality. As I mentioned in my speech, there are many bills in front of the House of Commons that Conservatives have proposed that I think the Liberals have just rejected on blind partisanship. And here's the reality. The Liberals need to stop listening to far-left special interest groups, powerful lobby groups of lawyers who profit off of this system, and start listening to the victims of crime. Premiers like Premier David Eby are saying we need more measures to support these things. There needs to be a reset in thinking that focuses on victims, upholds the sanctity of the law, and Canada's...
Questions and comments. The Honourable Member for Mount Royal.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker, and thank you to my colleague who, as always, gave a very interesting speech. The last part, Part D of the motion, calls for the repeal of Bill C-75, which would essentially put the criminal law back to the state it was before Bill C-75, which did a number of important things, one of which was repeal the body house laws and vagrancy laws that led to the mass jailing of gay men in Toronto and Montreal. Would the member explain to us why the entire Bill C-75 should be repealed as opposed to the part on extortion?
The Honourable Member for Calgary Nose Hill in 20
My
seconds.
question would be, as a member of the Government Caucus, why the member supported a bill that protected the rights of LGBTQ Canadians, which I fully support, but also made their lives more difficult by catch and releasing criminals that terrorize them. The government often makes these false dichotomies. where we have to sacrifice common sense civil liberties or protections that protect victims in order to protect one group of people. I don't buy that, and the member opposite shouldn't either.